Welcome to Balk About It, where we reveal a pretty big secret that Polo kept.
I kept it, and nobody knew about it. If you want to know about this secret, if you like secrets, this is your show. We're going to balk about that secret and a lot more. So, Brooke, are you ready?
Yeah, let's balk about it.
Let's.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Balk About It, our finale episode and our first inaugural season of Balk About It. I'm Brooke Grimsley alongside Polo Asensio, the Cardinals Spanish broadcaster. And this is the end, Polo, at least for this year.
It's not the end. Let's not get mushy or anything. But first of all,
I'm already crying.
Are you a Saturday Night Live fan?
Yes.
There's this kid a few years back. I think is it Ben Affleck? And it's a radio station.
A kid named Ben Affleck?
A skid.
Oh, okay.
Skit.
Oh, Kit. Yes.
Skit.
Like
a funny part.
Yes.
And he's, I think he's with Jimmy Fallon. And they are at a radio station. And they're kind of like fighting with each other. And I do remember that one of the things they said was like, and we're back. Remember that one? I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I don't know if I remember that.
And we're
one.
back. So we're back.
We're
so
back.
YouTube, thank you for taking care of those Russian hackers that tried to get into the YouTube page of the ESPN.
And steal our episode. They wanted to steal our episode.
That's it.
Is what I heard.
They wanted
essentially
to learn from this big old head and brain and that beautiful head and brain. But Brooke, I'm happy to be back. We're back. Sane's back. Nobody needs to know who Sane is, but
he's a secret.
He is the secret.
We might unveil him at the end.
He is the Jose Oquendo. He's the secret weapon.
Ooh, that's a big compliment, Zane.
There you go.
That is very big. Well, things wrapped up with the Cardinals.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
To say it was a disappointing season would probably be an understatement. 71-91 is the total for them at the end. Their 91 losses is not good. But we'll get into that a little bit. I just want to start with this last weekend for the Cardinals, wrapping things up for the regular season, was about saying goodbye to Cardinals legend Adam Wainwright. And it was a great weekend celebrating him. There were so many highlights, seeing him get an at-bat twice. I think a lot of people were hoping for that. Yadi Molina surprising him, and Albert Pujols. He finally got his dog, but it was just a good weekend. I feel like saying goodbye to Adam Wainwright and somebody who's been just a staple of the Birds and the Bat for so long.
Saying goodbye to Adam Wainwright, the player.
Yes.
Because he is going to be involved. He's going to be around. And we all know that he is a smart person when it's about baseball and life. But he is very well versed. And that's why, we're going to see him on TV. We're not going to have to wait a long time to hear his
Literally,
voice.
this week.
He's already doing it during the playoffs, and he's going to be doing it, I'm pretty sure, next season. And I'm happy for him. Happy that he got his 200 win. It took him a while. At times, we all scratched our heads. They're like, is he going to get it? Is he going to get it? I'm pretty sure that at times he doubted himself. But at the end, 200 win, he decided to not go anymore because he pitched hurt most of the season, as we kind of knew that was happening.
Well, he said that he was dealing with a torn labrum.
That's not funny. That's not a funny bone. That is something very serious. So I am glad he is going home to his 4 beautiful daughters, his son, his wife, and now their dog. And it was a great weekend. I was happy to be part of it. And I'm pretty sure Cardinal Nation are happy to be part of it. And they are happy that the season is over. Yes. Now the expectation for 2024 starts now. We have about 3, maybe 2 months before this team needs to do something. The organization needs to do something. Some tough decisions are coming. And I cannot wait to hear and see 2024 for the Cardinals, because it will be better. It cannot be worse. If it is worse than this, if it is worse than this, than 2023, then we are in big, big trouble. It needs to be better.
It has to be. And this is going to be a huge offseason. But real quick, just on the Waino weekend, because you were involved, you mentioned that, with Yadi Molina and keeping the secret. I thought that was just a great moment during the ceremony where Waino was surprised to see that Yadi came. He said that he thought that maybe Yadi was big leaguing him because he was trying to reach out to him, but now he realized it's because Yadi wouldn't be able to keep the secret that he was coming to town to surprise him. So what was that like?
It gives me goosebumps. Not even Benji, his brother, knew that he was coming.
Wait, are you serious?
No, like for real, like Benji had ideas because we will talk about it and we would, hey, do you think your brother? Hey, crees que tu hermano va a venir? Crees que el caballo? Hablaste con el caballo? Like we were both talking about it, and we didn't know. Like we didn't know he was coming. I knew he was coming once he was here. Saturday morning, like Saturday afternoon, I learned that he was here, and I have a way of sometimes getting information out from people, and I kind of like I asked them and I told them I will send them videos through Instagram and WhatsApp, his favorite way of communicating with people, of Adam saying, "Whoa, Yadi!" Like I told Yadi, like the first thing he said, one of the first things Adam said after winning number 200. Like the only thing missing here was my hermano, Yadi. And I send him that video and I send him different things whenever Adam was doing things. And at the end, Saturday night, we were trading messages talking about Skip Schumacher. Congratulations to Marlins and Skip. And how good of a job he's doing over there, and how the last season when Yadi was here and he left, one of the last guys to stay with Yadi was Skip. Before Yadi walked out of the stadium, and that's when Yadi basically confessed to me Saturday night. I'm in St. Louis, and then he gave me the good old emoji of shh. And then so I was very excited. I'm like, whatever you need, this and that. He stayed at his hotel, not the one close to the stadium, but one close, but not the one across the street. And then on Sunday morning, I wake up all excited for, to see Yadi, the ceremony, end of season, a little sad. And then I get a message from Yadi asking if I could please pick him up from his hotel room to take him to the stadium. So at that moment, I felt like, wow, I have the package, package. I need to go get him and deliver him and keep it quiet. So I did what I do every Sunday. I go to the stadium early. I get my notes ready. I ate my bagel, my bagel breakfast sandwich on Sundays. And I did that. Then Benji showed up and Benji was there. We were talking. I didn't say anything. And I even asked Benji, I'm like, hey, have you heard from your brother? He's like, no.
Oh, you were toying with him.
Well, what does one do when you need to keep a secret? Pretend that you're right.
Try to act
normal.
Yeah,
and then Benji said, no, but my mom said that he was going on a trip. I'm like, but where? Like, nobody knows. Like and then I believe Benji messaged him that morning and he replied, but nothing. And I'm like, hey, well, I don't know, man. And he asked me, Benji, I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I don't know anything. But at that time, I knew that he was here. I knew that I had to go get him, and it was funny because I when we come to work, Benji and we parked right outside the main gate where the players go in, right? So that's where parking spot is for now. And I'm like, okay, so if I go get him and I park there, it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Because right?
Yeah.
And I knew that he was a little nervous coming back, and I didn't want to put him in a position.
Because he didn't tell anybody from the Cardinals
organization. He told, I believe Mo knew.
Yeah.
And obviously Mo had to perhaps tell Mr. DeWitt.
Because if too many people know, then it's going to easily get back to Waino.
Yes. And so he had to tell somebody, but I believe he didn't use anything that the Cardinals offered him. Like, hey, here's the flight, here's the hotel. He did it on his own.
Yeah.
Right? Because he wanted to be that guy. So there was one person that works with the Cardinals, and I'm going to keep the name. I saw him at Starbucks on Saturday, and we were talking about it, and he asked me, hey, Polo, do you know if Yadi's coming on Saturday morning? And I'm like, no. I'm like, look, this is the message that he sent me yesterday. At that moment, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But he was worried because, it's a big thing. It's like you need the security, just like when you treat any of the legends, right? And so on Sunday, when Yadi, when I know I need to go get him, and I can talk about this because it's, it happened and it's something really cool to happen to me. So I texted this person, and I said, "Hey, dude, so this is what it is. This guy's here.
Hmm.
Um, I need a parking spot inside the gate
Yeah.
because it
You
could
can't
be a
just park at
disaster.
patios and
And
roll up and just
exactly, so that's where I park, right next to patios. Imagine
yeah.
that. So immediately they send me a ticket to. I'm like, okay. Once I had that, I felt great.
Yeah.
So I went to the stadium, blah, 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 blah. So I leave like at 12:15. I get out of the stadium. I'm going to the hotel, which is like 5 minutes driving from the stadium. I text Yadi, hey, I'm here. He's like, give me 10 minutes. He comes down. There's a few Cardinal fans at the door. They see him pass by, but they were not sure if that was Yadi. Like they
Like the windows weren't tinted enough.
no. Like he was walking,
Oh, he was
and
walking.
I
Yeah.
can see them look, but not like sure if that's where he was or that's who he was. And I didn't get out of the car, right? Because if they are not sure if that's Yadi, and then they see me and they know who I am or what I do for the Cardinals,
Then
then
they'll,
they might,
yes.
right? So I stayed in the car, then I drove a little bit away, then I got out of the car. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I need to give you a hug." So we hugged. We did one of those big old bear bro hugs, and I drove Yadi to the stadium through the back to like the main streets to get to Bush, not the back quick way, because I wanted him to
That's
see.
risky.
But I wanted him to see the fans.
Yes.
Like to see the emotion, to see everything. And at that time, the lines were long. People wanted to get there early, get their guitars, get everything. So I didn't say anything. We were just talking, listening to music. How you doing? How's things? Da, da, da. So we get to the parking, and we go into the parking, and then I park. He said, hey, just park right over here. I'm like, no, I need a spot because, we cannot just park. So he said, no, just park here. I'm like, okay. So I did. And then the security guard, hey, Polo, this parking spot is for, he said that, like, because they all have numbers. And they're like, oh, Yadi, no. Hey, you can stay here. If the other guy comes, I'll tell him to park somewhere else. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, hey, Yadi, nice to see you. Da, da, da. So at that moment, he starts laughing. And it took a while for him to get out of the car. Like St. Louis and everybody out there listening. This guy that gave you guys so many big moments was feeling like he didn't like he was hesitant because he didn't know what the reaction was going to be. Like he's coming back to a place that he basically helped build, right, for the last 15 years since the stadium opened. And I told him it took a few words of convincing, and
Was he just like nervous?
He was
He couldn't have
nervous.
thought there would be a negative
no,
reaction.
but he was nervous. He didn't know.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know. It's like when you go back to your high school or your college, you're kind of like, do I? That feeling of not insecurity, but like a little bit of fear and anxiety. So we talked, and there was a lot of really cool moments between Yadi and I inside my car, and then he said, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's go." But there was a moment that he was like, "No, should I just stay here?" And then one thing he said, he's like, "Polo, as soon as that thing is over, as soon as the ceremony's over, can you take me back to the hotel?" I'm like, "No."
Because you have to broadcast.
No, and at that moment, it was not even about broadcasting the game. It was about you have to stay.
To see
You
all
have to
this.
stay
Yeah.
to see it, to mingle with the legends and maybe the fans. And I told him, look, if you don't want to do any of that, come to the booth. Come to the booth. Benji's going to be there. You have to see Benji, right? You cannot just go. You have to see Benji and say hi to him and his family and everything. So just come to the booth. You can sit there. Promise you, I'm not going to ask you to get on the mic. You do whatever you want in there. Feel comfortable. So that's what happened. Then we come in. The first people we saw coming in was Adam's family. His mom, his brother, the kids inside one room because I didn't know where to take him. So we were going in through the clubhouse. But at that moment, Dylan Carlson was coming out with Mark Walsh, who is in charge of the clubhouse. So when Mark saw him, he took us to something like an owner's booth or owner's suite that is right next to the clubhouse. And on the way from the back to the owner's booth, Adam's wife was walking by. Jenny was walking by. So she sees him, and I think she said, does Adam know you're here? And Yadi's like, I don't think so. So she kept the secret. She kept it. So props to you. So she kept the secret. So at this moment, a few more people coming in, a couple of members of Team Fedber were there, and they're like, Yadi, welcome back. So he was feeling better and better and better. And then we get into the suite, like I said, at the bottom of the stadium. I'm there with Yadi, and Mark Walsh comes over. Ernie Moore, the traveling secretary, comes in. Phil Mercer, the security guard, the main guy there. And I'm like, okay, so I need to go, but I didn't want to leave him, right? But he was already talking to them. And then next thing I feel is like this two big old bear-like hands on my shoulders. Hey, chiquito, ya llegaste. And I look back, and it was Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are like, oh, you just say Albert, you say Yadi. I'm like, well, that's who they are for me. And then I see Chris Carpenter, Scott Rowland, and then I see Ozzie Smith. And I'm like, okay, this is my cue to get out of here. So I just walked out. I went to the booth. I'm big old smile. This is about 1:20 or so, getting ready to get on air. And Benji, hey, where are you, caballo? ¿Dónde estabas? Da, da, da. No, I had to go get a package. A package? So I got my phone, and I took a selfie with Yadi. I'm like, I need a selfie with you because nobody's going to believe me the story.
Yeah.
So we took a selfie right outside the car. I'm like, so I showed it to Benji. Benji gave me the face like, so he's here? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Your brother's here. So at that moment, that's when when Benji learned about Yadi being here, because it was also a surprise for Benji and for everybody. And so after that, we saw what you did, what all of you did, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see Adam's reaction, to see Yadi's reaction. He had promised me, and not in a good way, that he was not going to say anything on the mic, but he did, as we all heard. And then what was it, maybe like the third inning or so? Next thing you know, I feel a breeze coming out of my window, which means the door in the back is open. I didn't even look because I knew. Like, the door was open for more than 30 seconds. I'm like, I know somebody's coming. And then I felt the same hands. So like Albert and Yadi are there. Albert stayed in the booth for about 2 innings. Yadi decided to stay with us for the whole game. Mm-hmm. And I know that other people were waiting for him to go to other booths, but I know Yadi does what Yadi wants, as we know. And he stayed with us. It was really cool. We were talking about baseball, about life, about retirement, about his relationship with Adam. And then, the whole I want to see Waino sign a bat, like some fan, there was a few. And Yadi saw one on the big screen. He's like, you know what? I want to see Waino bat. And then he said, I want a sign that says I want to see Waino bat. So as soon as he said that, I take my headphones off, and I'm like, you know what? All right. So Benji and him, they were doing play-by-play commentary, while I am in the back with Selena Allen, our Spanish booth radio coordinator. I'm like, okay, we need a cardboard, we need a paper or something. So immediately she grabs the top of a Rollins baseball box. So we grab it, we break it. I'm writing it, I'm putting tape on it, and next thing you know, within a minute, I told you, hey, Yadi, here's your sign. And now, the sign came out, people went crazy, and then Adam came to bat, and we were all cheering. We were cheering for a couple of things. For Irvin Lopez to get his first hit in the big leagues, didn't happen. He got an RBI. And then Adam to get a hit. He got a foul ball, and that would have been amazing because Yadi was on the mic. If that happens, I was going to stay quiet. Like, I stayed quiet for most of the at bat because I wanted, at this time, the season is over. It's not about Polo. It's not about so much me calling the games, about the emotion of that moment and that connection between Adam and Yadi. And I was pulling for that base hit or something, and I wanted Yadi to explode. And he's like, if he hits a home run, this place is gonna come down. It's gonna crumble to Adam's feet. But that didn't happen. But at the end, I think everybody went home very, very happy.
I just love that image too of like Yadi holding that sign. It felt like he was just like a fan in that moment. Yeah. And you could tell just seeing the smile on his face. I thought that was just really cool and a great surprise. So Waino got surprised twice with the dog, and then with Yadi being there, his brother, he talked about that so much. It was just a special weekend where I think fans were able to kind of step away, forget for just a little bit about what has happened this season. And then you're smacked in the face with the reality of what happened this season, 91 losses. it's just hard. And then seeing Waino go, that's the end of an era, as we mentioned, with him being a player, but also kind of the end of that last little piece from that 2006 2011 World Series championship teams.
Yeah.
And so then you're hit with that reality of, okay, we're further and further away from that. And this offseason is going to be very critical to getting back on track. So now looking ahead to this offseason, because it's going to be a very interesting one, Oli Marmol already kind of made some comments that got a lot of people going and also giving some insight into his thought process going into this offseason. He mentioned in pregame, and this was on Sunday before their final game of the season, I want a clubhouse full of guys that has one thing on their minds, and it's not themselves, it's winning a championship. So you start out by weeding those out. What is your first reaction hearing that sound? Because some people thought, well, is he talking about some of the guys that have already exited, some of the guys who are not currently here because they're on the injured list? What is your takeaway from that quote from Oli Marmol about what he's looking for when they're starting to build these pieces and put together these pieces for 2024?
He's looking to build a team, right? A team of ball players, not a team of me players. It's a weird quote, right? But this season was filled with weird quotes and statements from our manager, and it's part of the learning process, right? I had a conversation with him, many, but one where we were talking about Nolan, right? Let's just say Nolan Arenado. And we were talking about the team and not running, not running the way the team should be running. And then he said, "What do you want me to do? Go scream at Nolan to work harder? Go scream at Goldie to work harder? Go scream at this guy or that guy?" And he tells me, "You see them work hard. Like they know what they have to do if they want to win. Now it's up to me to put the best roster or team available out there to try and win. Now, if players are not doing the most they can, it's not my fault. It's their fault, because then maybe they think more about themselves." My opinion, Polo Asensio opinion, is everybody wants to win.
Yes.
One way or the other,
you don't
want
reach this
to win.
level if you don't want to win.
No. We want to win. And this team wants to win. He wants to win as the manager. He wants to be successful. He was successful last season, with Yadi and Albert and good pitching. This year, there was no good pitching. There was no emotional inspiration, because you can be talented, you can work really hard, but at the end, there needs to be a drive to get you there.
Yes.
And last season, when Albert started hitting those home runs in the second half of the season, that was the drive. There was driving, like the foam of the top of your latte that you eat.
Yeah,
drink
the cream
every
rises
morning.
to the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when Albert was doing that, everybody was following. So this team this season, I don't think had that part of the emotional win. I believe next season, somebody who is already part of this roster is that emotional cream. I believe there's a guy here already that is going to pull everybody up.
And who's that?
You need to stay and watch for next season.
No, I want to know now. You've already kept one secret this weekend. You can reveal another. Who do you think? Okay, let me phrase it to get this out of you, possibly. So who do you think will be the leader in the clubhouse for the Cardinals
Your
next
catcher,
season?
not an outfielder, a catcher, Willson Contreras. Willson is going to come out. Like this season for him, it was a lot of learning.
Yes.
Right? We saw it. I
Had
saw
to face
it.
a lot of adversity,
I felt
too.
it. Adversity that was brought to him by outside voices, by outside people, not him. And he took it like a champion. Even that ridiculous thought of an outfielder, then it happened, it wasn't true, or whatever, right? A lot of things were true, and then they were not this season here in St. Louis with the Cardinals. I see Willson Contreras being that emotional leader for the club. I see a lot of the young players gravitating towards him already, right? A lot of players like huddle around his clubhouse, because the guy, he's won a world championship. And the guy is a winner. And even though, just like Jordan Walker, not comparing one to the other, but I am kind of, they had bad moments for whatever reason, and then they raced to the top. Like Jordan Walker, to me, had a really, really good season. Yes, he had his struggles in the outfield, but at the end, I am happy with what he did. He's still a young kid, learning. And I think that Willson Contreras is going to keep it up. Jordan Walker is going to keep it up. And with, obviously, Nolan and Goldie there, plus hopefully a couple of really good pitchers, this team is going to be back on top next season. Again, Polo Asensio sees Willson Contreras, the catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, being that guy. He was that guy this season.
Well, and that's why you bring guys in, right, is to be who they are. That's the whole point of signing someone. You're not trying to change them. You should be bringing them in because you like them as a player. And that's why I think the whole Willson Contreras situation is interesting, because I want to get your thoughts on this, because Brad Thompson a few weeks ago said on the Fast Lane that he believes the Cardinals are going to move Willson Contreras to the outfield next season. Now, that's interesting, because I thought that we had moved past all of that, right? I thought that we had moved past all of that. And so then to find out that Brad Thompson, who's very close to the Cardinals organization, I don't think he would say that without some sort of direct knowledge or feeling or something like that, without knowing something. And so moving Willson Contreras to the outfield, do you think that that could possibly be a bad decision for the Cardinals?
Well, let's not forget, first of all, that Brad Thompson has a show where he co-hosts with Fred Bird. So when you are next to Fred Bird, sometimes you might say things without thinking. I'm not saying that he wasn't thinking, but I don't see that. I really don't see it at all. It's and I'm going to say it again. I've said it more than once. You brought Willson Contreras to be your catcher, right? If you wanted an outfielder, you go with somebody else. Yes, I get it. According to reports or whatever, some people didn't like what they saw with Willson behind the plate. But he is my catcher. Yeah. That's why I think, and I say that he is the force for next season. He's going to be that guy that brings everybody together. That guy that says, hey, you see this back? You see my back? It's a big back. Jump on it. Let's go. You don't want to jump on it? You can walk next to me, but we're going to go. I see Willson as being that guy. I don't see him as being your outfielder, any outfield. Anything. If anything, he'll be your DH, and that's fine, because now the league gives you that. You can have a DH. So if you want to bring in another catcher, or if you want to keep using Andrew Kisner, or if you want to bring in and give Ivan Herrera a real good look into the big club, then you can do that. I think that's the to me, that is the main decision. Who is your second catcher? Because it's not even a backup anymore. Who is your second catcher for the future? Are you going to bring back Andrew? Are you going to give Ivan the chance and let Andrew explore other opportunities? Willson is not going to be your outfielder.
It just adds. It adds to what we saw this past season, which is the outfield carousel. So then you're going to add another person into this that would create more of a logjam.
I mean, we saw Burleson, Yepes, O'Neill, Richie Palacios, Tommy Edman, Nudbar. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Of course, Jordan Walker. Yeah. This kid that, oh my God, I hated. They call him up just the other day. I mean, we saw 10, 12 guys out there. Is he the solution to that? No. He is, Willson Contreras, the solution to your catching position, not the solution to your outfield carousel mess, crowded situation. No, I really don't see it. And like you said, I thought we were done with that. So if somebody's bringing that up, what are we doing? Yeah. It will add to more turmoil, to more confusion. What are we doing? Yes. To more confusion, to more struggles to sign free agent pitching. Yes. Because when you're a pitcher, you wanna make sure you have a good base, a good reinforcements behind you, foundation. That's the word I was looking for. You have one of the best third basemen. You have a really good first baseman. Now you want the rest. Mason Wynn, Is he going to be your shortstop? I think he is. I think Mason is going into 2024 spring training. This is your job for you to lose, and I hope he doesn't, right? Yes, he struggled with the bat, but hopefully he gets better and better. Now, if you have good hitting around Mason Wynn, you don't really need his bat that much, right? You can put him 8, you can put a 9. But going back to Willson, no, he is your catcher. The big signing was former or world champion, former Cub catcher Willson Contreras signed with the Cardinals for 5 years. First year was what it was, and Brooke, he hit what we thought he was going to hit.
Exactly, and they said they wanted an offensive catcher,
like the 20 home runs and over 270. He was. Remember that quote from Denny Green? They thought who we thought they were. Like when he got on that rant, he is who we thought he is, or he was. He is our catcher. He is a good hitter that can really catch.
Yes.
He did a fantastic job behind the plate. Whatever happened, it's in the past.
You think it's going to be in the past, and then
if somebody even brings it up to him, if they already did, it's not going to be pretty, because at one point you're going to say, you know what? Yeah, you pay me all that money to be here. I want to do something. I don't want to be, and I can say many names in the near past that have signed for a lot of money and done nothing. He doesn't want to be the next that guy that he signed for $20 million a year, and what did he do? He wants to do something, and
that's more on the organization.
That's not it. That's not it.
No, it's not. To me, it's just confusing because, like we said, it just adds to more of that confusion of what this team will look like as you're putting all the pieces together. And I thought that they moved past this. And you were talking about, it felt like it was missing from this season, having that leader that really just kind of pushed things through. We saw Albert Pujols, that energy that he brought. Of course, Albert Pujols, legend, but what he did in that second half of that season, that energy that just really lifted all the other plays around him. That's why you brought in Willson Contreras, right? Not only to be your primary catcher, which I was sitting in that press conference, I remember them saying that he's going to be your primary catcher, which when you say that and you sign him to be your primary catcher, I assume you're going to have him do that for the 5 years that you signed him up for, right? But also just letting him be who he is. You can't just sign players and turn them into something else. You bring him in because of his fire, his passion, the way that he is able to lead other players and elevate other players. Let him do that, because it's only going to be beneficial for the team. What stuck out to me is just how he handled everything this season. To me, I want a player like that. I would take so many more players like that in your clubhouse, because that's a leader.
You want somebody like that. You want somebody like Brandon Donovan. You want somebody like Giovanni Gallegos.
Yeah.
Somebody, and I mentioned those guys because I've seen it.
Yes.
Like they go, they talk, they pump people up. They show them the way. Hey, we don't do this in the clubhouse. Hey, we don't do this over here. Get here. Where's this guy? Why is he missing a meeting? Hey, come over here.
Yeah.
Leaders, young or old leaders. And this season with Willson, new team, like new phone, who this, new team, who this. That's what happened with Willson. But next year, he's not going to be new team, who this. It's going to be, this is my team. This is who I am. Now, with Nolan, with Goldie, with Michaelis, with Gio, like I mentioned, those guys are the veterans. Think about this. Now that Adam is gone, Giovanni Gallegos and Miles Michaelis are the longest tenured Cardinals. Like it was Jack Flaherty, it was Paul DeYoung. They're gone. Now you have Gio and Michael as the guys who have been here for the longest, and that's what, 2018. That's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, for some people that's a long time, but in baseball years, that's not a long time. That's just yesterday. So now you have those guys. Bring it in. Let's go. So I hope that doesn't come up, and I hope that if it does, Willson shuts it down really, really fast, because like I told them, again, one of those secrets that nobody knows. I told him when this happened back in April, I said, who are you? Are you Willson Contreras, a mediocre outfielder? Or are you Willson freaking Contreras, world champion catcher?
Yes.
Who are you? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the best you can be behind the plate and with your bat? Or do you want to be somebody who looks really silly? Because I don't see him diving for balls. I don't see that frame.
No.
I don't see that body. You want to be that guy in the outfield. Again, I don't make the decisions. I just balk about it here with you, Brooke. I just call the games in Spanish for the St. Louis Cardinals. I hope that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
And you said, I didn't hear about this. I mean, not that I hear everything, but I know that you said Brad mentioned it, and if he mentioned it, he heard it from somebody in the know. I hope they put the brakes on it really, really fast, because there's other outfielders out there. If you are creating a logjam now behind the plate, that's not Willson's problem.
No.
That's perhaps a good problem to have.
Yeah.
If you think you have too much talent behind the plate, then guess what? You can use it to trade for an ace. You can use it to trade for a number 2 pitcher. So let's use those prospects that can turn into suspects for a reality.
Yes.
A reality. We know that there's not that many aces out there in the market, but do we really need an ace? Yes. But if there's not one available, go and make your ace. Go look for that ace and bring one, because Cardinal Nation deserves better than what this year happened. And we all know that.
Yeah.
This season was a disaster, and the disaster has ended. Now, let's turn that disaster into that song from, I believe it was Through 11, a beautiful disaster for 2024, and celebrate instead of scratching our heads again.
Yeah, you can't have that happen again. And that's the biggest thing, is to see how the Cardinals will handle this offseason, because this is such a unusual season for the Cardinals in their long history, and this was a historically bad season. Now this is a chance, and it's something that they haven't really been in a position to do before. Now this is a chance to right that wrong. And if you say that you're going to be able to turn around quickly, then you have to go get those pieces and give those people the defined roles, the roles that they deserve to have going into next season.
They will. If we didn't learn as a whole from this season, from the very top to the everybody that works at the stadium, then we are not ever going to learn.
No.
If you don't learn from a disaster of a situation in life in general, then you are never going to learn. If I didn't learn from the times that I was down in the trenches, wondering and hoping for one day to have a job, period, then I would never learn.
Yeah.
Trust me, those bad days make you a better person if you know how to manage, and if you know how to keep moving. Even if you don't get out of it, just keep moving. Learn from those mistakes, learn from those experiences. And if it doesn't help you get out, then you can help others get out when you are in that situation. Now I'm getting very philosophical and life experience coach Polo Asensio. It's coming. So
the book, look out for it. Yes.
More than one book. I mean, all the stories that I've said here and the ones that I haven't, I know that Cardinal Nation and people in general can enjoy a lot of the things that I've been through, that we've been through as a person, as a family, and yeah, I mean, back to what we were balking about. That's a big balk for me, a big, huge balk for me. I don't see that. I don't see Willson anywhere but catching, perhaps in an emergency. Like we've seen pitchers and people do different things.
Yeah.
But as a regular out there, nah.
No.
No.
I'm with you on that. And we're going to wrap this up, because this is hard to believe, but we are wrapping up the season, and I have to always, and I say this a lot, I appreciate everything that you do, taking the time, coming out here, because you are booked and busy. Polo is booked and busy, in demand, and so he takes the time to come here and balk about things.
Busy, so it would be a little more interesting.
But I have a thank you for you.
You're
for
welcome.
everything.
You're welcome.
Well, not just that. No, an actual gift, a surprise,
okay,
if you will, for Polo.
Okay. Well, by the shape of the bag, it looks like a bottle, unless there's like a statue. An Oscar, maybe? An Oscar for my acting? All right, let's see this.
This is a thank you for everything.
Now this makes sense.
This year.
This kind of makes sense, because yesterday I got a thank you. I mean, I'm not a heavy drinker. I do like my tequila. So thank you very much. And thank you, to your spy, Miss
Yes.
Katie Wu.
Katie Wu.
I got a text
put her in
yesterday
action.
asking me about
Yeah.
tequila and about prices, and I mentioned this tequila. It's owned by, and he even wrote in this bottle, George
Oh.
Clooney. If you guys don't know the name, I'm not gonna say. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
got
give
that
him.
autograph
No, I'm not gonna
for
give
you.
him free advertising because I mean, we need advertising here in at Balk About It and perhaps all of the Hubbard radio. But this brings me back really cool memories of a very celebratory night in Atlanta, in Georgia, when the Cardinals beat. Thank you, muchas gracias.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were,
Exchanging
This
gifts.
is for you. I mean, I know you're Japanese, but
This- Oh
No, a little
no!
too
Wow,
big.
that's
Yeah,
that's definitely a size difference.
a little too big. Sorry for messing. I know you love to do your hair.
Well, that's something that you and I balk about. Is we like to discuss our hairstyles
but-
and stuff like that. You know,
There's no style.
that's what
so
we balk about.
As I was saying, one night in Atlanta, one of those stories that will make the book and maybe even the movie, when the Cardinals beat the Braves to move on to the NLCS in 19. So we win. The Cardinals win. We go. There's a little get together for players and some people from the front office, and we got invited. So they had an open bar, right? Open bar, food and everything. Everybody's eating, just having a good time there because we just moved on to the next round. And now we're waiting to see if the Dodgers win or the Nationals win. Depending on who wins, we go to LA or the Nationals come to St. Louis. At the end, the Nationals came to St. Louis, and we all know what happened in 2019. But between the end of our game and their game, I talked to, talking about Yadi again. I say, hey, Yadi, let's do a shot. You want a shot of tequila? Just to keep it simple. He's like, no. Let's wait on the tequila because, if we have a long flight tomorrow, I don't want to be, with a hangover. If we fly home, it's a little more we can tolerate a little more.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end, the Nationals win. And I'm like, all right, so ready for the tequila? He's like, yeah, let's go. So I counted. There was like 8, 10 people. I'm like, all right. So I go to the open bar, right, looking like a hero into the open bar, which means everything's paid. And then the open bar was closed. So I'm like, dang, now I have to pay for this tequila. And, you're at a restaurant. It's not cheap. So I ask the bartender, hey, how many of the tequila shots? They were like $10, $15. I'm like, oh, that's $150. And then I said, hey, how much for your bottle of tequila? Which one? I'm like, what do you have? Me being the tequila master or whatever. And she gave me a few brands, and Casa Amigos, I heard about it. And I never had it before. So, you know what? Let's go with Casa Amigos. Kind of like the one you just gifted me.
Yeah.
I just said the name. Thank you again. It's right here. And I opened it. We opened it. It was cheaper for me to buy the whole bottle than to buy shots. So we got the bottle, got the shot glasses. We were in there and we all had a celebratory shot or two. So yes, there's a lot of things along the way that bring me back to those moments. That was a happy moment. This is a bittersweet moment, but I know that next season there's going to be a lot more Balk About It, and then perhaps we'll do like a preseason or like spring training edition, and we can keep the ball going. And again, thank everybody for all your support. Everybody who says, hey, Balk About It, I listen to you guys, the Spanish broadcast, the Polo when you're in the wrist show. We love you. I love you back. I love you, St. Louis. I love every single one of you. And again, from the bottom of my heart and from my family to yours, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, because we love baseball and we love doing what we do, and I love doing this. And Brooke, thank you for trusting in me. Thank you for inviting me. I know it was kind of like, hey, why don't we do this? You know what? That's fine. It was like
Let's throw it together.
Yeah, it's like when we do, like, we in Mexican families, we do a carne asada.
Yeah.
We don't plan it. All of a sudden, like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. You want to do a carne asada? Yeah, all right. You bring the meat, you bring the beer. I'll put the grill, and let's go. This is how it happened. So thank you, Sane, and thank you to anybody who has backed this project. So hopefully next season we come bigger and stronger, like the catcher of the St. Louis Cardinals,
Yes.
Willson Contreras, the catcher.
Willson freaking Contreras.
There
you go.
Yeah,
That's
I'm gonna make T-shirts. So hey, watch out! Don't make any
there
T-shirts.
you go. Yes,
Yeah.
Willson freaking Contreras.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in for our inaugural season of Balk About It, and we'll be back in 2024.
We will.